If your sales page were one of your employees, would you give it a raise or would you fire it on the spot? Because if it's just sitting there looking pretty but not bringing in clients, it's time for a performance review. Let's fix that. Hey there, creative business owners. Welcome to the Higher Purpose Marketing Strategy Podcast. I'm Ashley Conway, and for over 20 years, I've been helping creative businesses as a marketing expert and copywriter. If you've ever felt like your branding or marketing is holding back your business's growth and you're over being on the DIY hamster wheel, you're in the right place. Each week, I'll walk you through simple, story-filled strategies to build a harmonious marketing system that attracts your ideal high-paying clients without the overwhelm. Ready to make marketing work for you? Let's go. Your sales page is either your hardest working employee or it's like the one that's sitting at their desk scrolling Instagram. Listen, if the page is not pulling its weight, if people are coming to it and then they're disappearing instead of buying or taking the next step, we need to figure out why. A sales page isn't just a long ad. It's a conversation that converts strangers into your best clients. It's where clarity and a little psychology and mix in a little story, they all come together and they do the heavy lifting for you. So you don't have to start from square one with every conversation you have explaining one-on-one, this is what I offer and this is what's in it. It does some of that prep work for you so that when you get on those calls, you have a pretty educated potential client. So whether you are selling a $47 digital product that you created or a $5,000 package, the bones of your sales page stay the same. The difference is just going to be in the level of detail, the emotional connection that you make, and how much trust you need to build in order to move them to the next step. Listen, there is a lot to unpack here when we're talking about sales pages. And instead of rushing through it, which I was tempted to do, and I tried to record this as one episode, and it felt like I was just fire hosing everyone. So instead of doing that, I want to look at these 10 elements of a high performing sales page in two parts. So first, let's talk about what a sales page is, because I know this is often a marketing term. So let's kind of put this to rest so we're on the same page. A sales page is simply a web page where you sell your product and service. You may have a services page as well, where you list all the services you offer, the different types of things that you do, but you should have an individual page for each of those services with the sole purpose of compelling that person to buy, to book, to call, whatever your next step is. Your sales page is what gets the person to take that next step. So next, we're going to tackle the beginning of this foundation, this framework of a sales page. We're going to look at the first 5 elements that make or break your page. Number 1, the top of your page should be your product or service name, your tagline, and your price. So right out of the gate, let's talk about the name. You want to lead with clarity. Yes, I know we like to be clever and come up with a name that we think is kind of fun, that tells something about who we are and what the service is, but there has to be an equal amount of clarity and description. They need to know exactly what this is that you're offering and who it's for. So for the purposes of this episode and the next episode, part 2 of this conversation, to be really clear about this, I'm going to use an example with you. So let's look at a therapist who is offering a coaching program for people who struggle with anxiety. Now, I know not everybody listening to this is a therapist. That's fine. I wanted to give you something where you can see, how do we take these principles that I'm going to discuss and how do we pull that out and what it would actually look like on a page. So here's an example with product name and tagline. So this therapist, her program, she's named it Anxiety Reset Coaching Program. And her tagline is 12 weeks to finally Stop overthinking and feel calm again. So we know who it's for. It's for people who struggle with anxiety, right? And we know exactly what it is. It's a 12-week coaching program. So there shouldn't be any questions if someone is just, because they're likely going to, skimming through multiple therapist pages and their offerings looking for, is this the right thing for me? Now, a lot of therapists are going to just say, I work with individuals, individual coaching kind of thing, individual therapy, excuse me. That's what they would say. I work with individual patients. I'm a therapist. And they would keep it very vague. But if you're a person who struggles with anxiety, you're going to see this anxiety reset and be immediately drawn to it. And then you're going to keep scrolling to see, what is this and could it help me? And the last part of this top section that must go in there is a call to action button. It could be buy now, book now, call now, any of these things, whatever the next step is for your business, that button copy should always be the same. And you want to sprinkle it throughout the page, because the nature of a sales page is that it's a little bit longer than like your standard page. So you want to give them multiple chances as they're scrolling through. We don't want them to scroll all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom to, buy now or book now. We want them to be able to do it when they are feeling convinced that it's the right move for them. We want to make it an easy yes for them. So that is number one. Number two, the section is going to be the problem and the solution. So the problem is we have to describe their pain point, is something, marketers call it, or their struggle or their challenge or what's hurting in this case. Describe why they're hurting. Let them feel seen. Let them know that you understand what they're going through. So let's stick with our example here. Don't say, feeling anxious, join my program. It's too vague and it's much too soon to be making that pitch. Let's start with warming it up a little bit and let's get on the same page. So lead with empathy and specifics. What we want to do here is to paint a real life moment, let's say, that their ideal client would be in during their day. So just take this paragraph, into consideration. You wake up already tense. Your to-do list is overwhelming before you've even had coffee. You try deep breathing and journaling and maybe even therapy, but nothing seems to stick. Wow, right? That person who struggles with anxiety, and shoot, I have been one and continue to be to a certain level. You read that and you start to feel it in your body. I did. I started to get goosebumps and know, yeah, I've experienced those things. Then, now that you've established, you understand where they're at, where they're hurting, you pivot to the solution. That's why I created the Anxiety Reset program, to help you learn how to calm your mind, quiet your thoughts, and finally feel like yourself again. So you know what that does? That inspires hope, and that's what you want as we move into more about what this program, this service is about. The tip here is, there is no need to make their problem, their struggles dramatic. It's just to connect. The whole point of this is connection, not to play on their emotions or their struggles. Just make it familiar. Just connect with them and help them to feel seen. That's really what the goal is. So the third section is going to be your list of benefits. So you've introduced a couple of different times, you've mentioned your Anxiety Reset program. So now we're going to look at what the benefits are. Now, when I say that, you may hear features and start thinking things like 6 1-hour sessions, right? Start thinking features. That's not what this is. People don't buy features. They buy a feeling. They buy after they're connected to somebody. So the list of benefits is going to be the transformation they get from working with you. So here's for the example. You sleep through the night without mental replay of the day. You respond calmly instead of reacting instantly. You feel present and in control again. So see how these are focusing on what the person will feel or experience after they work with this therapist and go through this program. Then number 4, we get to jump to, okay, give me a little bit of the details of what's in this program. We want to give it some structure so they know that we have created something thoughtfully with a framework, and that this is like an actual program, but we don't want to give them too much that they get overwhelmed. So the mistake would be listing every single thing that's a part of this program like it's a grocery list. The solution to that, the alternative, is to list a few high-level things and then also to frame them as a benefit, to tie them up with a benefit. Here's the example. You could say 12 weekly coaching calls. That's accurate, but you could make it better. It goes from like good to even better by saying 12 weekly calls to practice real life calm, not just talk about it. You could say you offer a personalized plan, or you could say a clear step-by-step roadmap that's made for you, not just a generic checklist of things to do. That is, it just really evokes emotion. It makes a connection. It shows why you're different. It shows that you have a level of understanding. Then the next section, number 5, is the About You section. Now, this page is not about you, so we have to keep that in mind. This page, and every page on your site, is about the person reading it. And especially with something like this, or something like a business consultant, you're not buying a product in this example. You are working one-on-one with someone, and there has to be this high level of trust that I can trust you as a therapist or as a consultant. I can trust you with my mental health journey. I can trust you with my business growth. Whatever it is, we have to establish a level of trust, and that requires letting them get to know us a little bit. So this isn't a resume. This is establishing credibility and professionalism and expertise. So here's an example for this therapist. As a licensed therapist who's helped 100 plus clients manage anxiety, I know how it feels to carry that constant mental weight. My job is to help you lighten the load. And that's just 2 sentences. That person could expand it a little bit or leave it as it is and add a credibility piece underneath this section, like a testimonial, or, that would be really good for a therapist's sake, or places that they have been published. If they're in Psychology Today or other places, this would be a good place to put those logos. It just kind of reinforces the credibility there. Remember, the goal is to position yourself as trustworthy and relatable, and also an expert, because they want both. They want a person they can connect with and that they like, and they also want to know they're with a pro. So that is the first 5 sections. If you're working on a sales page right now, I'm working on a couple, in real time. Start there. Work on those. If you nail these 5 elements, you have a great start for a sales page that will sell for you. In part 2, which will be in 2 episodes from now, the next week will be one of my Pep Talks episodes, and then the next one will be part 2 of this conversation. We're going to talk about how to build credibility, how to handle objections on the page, not even in a conversation, and how to close the sale, all with this one webpage. Listen, if you have a webpage right now and you're not sure why it's not selling like you want it to, book a free strategy session with me. We'll review the page together. We're going to map out some changes that could make all the difference for your business. And you do that at bit.ly/BeWeirdCall. That's all for this episode. I am looking forward to getting back with you on the part 2 of this. And in the meantime, stay weird.
Thanks for listening to today's show. For all things podcast, including transcripts, extra resources, and a place to submit questions for the show, visit higherpurposemarketingstrategy.com. I'd also love for you to do me 2 quick favors. 1, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and 2, share this episode with your colleagues. And that's a wrap. Meet you back here next week.